Good.
Yep.
What's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another Victory Monday episode of the Dawgs podcast, brought to you by Omaha Steaks. We're joined in studio by everybody's favorite Canadian, Kenny Mack.
Woo! Let's go Browns!
Return of the Mac.
Return of the Mac, baby.
He was. It's a game in Indianapolis with a couple other Dog Pack members, and he decided to extend his trip down here in the States for an extra day to join us in the studio.
Right.
It's awesome to have you again, per usual. Obviously, big win by the Browns. Probably didn't go the way anybody expected script-wise, but a W is a W. The Browns are at 4-2, and if the season were to end today, I believe we would be the 6th seed in the playoff picture. So can't complain, but we definitely have some things we want to get into, talk about. We want to get all your guys' thoughts. We have a lot of voicemails to get to today. Remember, if you guys want to send in voicemails or intros for the show, head to thedogspodcast.com, tap leave voicemail in the drop-down menu. It's very easy to do. Kenny can put out a tutorial because he leaves them all the time. He's perfected it. It's an art form. We want to hear from all of you guys, too. If you want to just listen to the show, you can find us on Apple, Spotify, and Google. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. It helps out the show a lot. Make sure you tap the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. We're going live all the time this season, and you don't want to miss any of them. They're always the best episodes. Lastly, if you're looking for more Dogs content, you can head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member on the Patreon page. You get an extra episode every week. Kenny and Josh were live in the private Discord that you get access to earlier today, talking about the game with some Dog Pack members. So there's always something cool going on in there. We do weekly pick'ems. You get to play fantasy football with all of us. All 5 of us have our own league this year for the Dog Pack. So it's a ton of fun. You get extra content. You get to hang out with people from literally all over the world. If that's what you're interested in, you want to meet Browns fans, you want to hang out with the Dogs, you want to play some fantasy football, all that good stuff, head to jointhedawgs.com, become an official Dog Pack member. So, pretty crazy game.
Jesus, understatement.
For the Browns. Did not go the way we expected. To put things in perspective, in terms of the way I expected it to go, I did it maybe 10 minutes before kickoff. I was I don't normally bet on the Browns, and I was like, I'm going to bet on the Browns today. And I said, too. I'm going to go Browns money line, and it was something real small. It's like, this should hit. This should be pretty easy. It was Browns money line, Deshaun 200-plus passing yards, Amari 50-plus receiving yards. I was like, that's pretty much money in the bag. And then I watched the first throw of the game, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to win this bet. Talk about just a rough start for the quarterback. I know he came out and said he wouldn't consider it a rough start because he only got to throw 5 passes. I got news for you, buddy. That was a rough start. That's about as rough as it could go. And I honestly think that maybe the bigger story, not the offense, is the defense was, I feel like they were very Jekyll and Hyde. They're the reason we won the football game and also the reason that we almost lost the football game. Essentially, Myles Garrett won this game. He TJ Watt'd it.
He's not a human. And he's definitely getting drug tested.
We talk all the time about how he doesn't have these TJ Watt performances where he just takes over a game. Well, there it was. That's what it looks like.
He was a 10-point difference or 10-point swing, no field goal, and then added a touchdown.
Yeah.
And not only that, after PJ Walker's arm punt late in the fourth quarter, the Colts ran the ball 3 straight times because they were not going to drop back in their own end zone again against Myles. So it completely affected the way they called the game late, how dominant he was early. I would say it was his best game as a Cleveland Brown, and that's saying something considering how many he had 5 sacks or whatever against the Bears a couple years ago.
3.5? 4.5. Before, Or was it 4? Yeah.
4.5.
So, I mean, he played out of his mind. So there was definitely good things to get into, then obviously a lot of troubling things. We did have a couple voicemails that we wanted to get to early, just kind of discussing this game. So we'll go ahead and play those now.
Yeah, I think we'll just do these back to back. So this first one's from Tyler.
Hey, Dogs Podcast. This is Tyler. I got 4 words for you. How about them Browns? What a win. The D wasn't great, but they did just enough to get us the dub today. Need some work on that offense. Let's talk about the quarterback situation. I want to hear all about it. Go Browns.
We will. But first, here's Avante.
What's up with my Dogs, man? I hope y'all enjoyed the game as much as I did. It was crazy. Had a lot of ups and downs in it, but nonetheless, we pulled it out, made some key stops when we needed to. I was actually at the stadium at Lucas Oil and I seen a whole lot of Browns fans, man. It was damn near a Browns game. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. Dog Pound showed up, showed out when he needed to. I want to ask y'all though, what was y'all thoughts on that Kevin Stefanski 1st and 1 yard to go there at the end of the game? I hear a lot of people complaining about him not running it, but we had no timeout. So could you explain to the goofballs that don't know too much about football why Kevin Stefanski decided to not run the ball on 1st and 1 yard to go? Go Browns.
And just real quick, I do have another voicemail before we get into the Kevin stuff, but go ahead with the rest of the game quick.
Okay. Did you guys, how surprised were you guys about the defense?
I was
tackling?
on
Tackling?
Just
Everything.
like the general, just didn't do the things we've seen them do all year. I thought it was by far our worst tackling performance, especially in the back end that we've had all season.
Especially Juan Thornhill, man.
It was rough. I kind of got the sense they read their own newspaper clippings all week. And we saw the hype video about them coming out with the boombox on, how they took it from the Niners, and they were saying copyright, call a lawyer, and that's fine. I like the cockiness and stuff like that. But it seemed to me like it just kind of went on a little bit longer than it needed to be, and it was kind of like they heard how good they were all week. And then they came out and they thought like the Colts were just going to lay down because they had a backup and we just beat the 49ers. And they didn't. I didn't get to do the preview show for the Colts, but I sent in a text and I was like, the Colts shouldn't be looked at as a trap game, and we shouldn't, even if Watson played healthy, I did not think we should expect to just run them out of Lucas Oil. This team beat the Ravens with a healthy Lamar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they had the same amount of wins as us coming in. So I did not. I almost felt like the defense just took them a little bit too light. Gardner Minshew, we've seen, can play at a high level for stretches at a time in the league. So I looked for that. It was almost like a wake up call. I'm happy we were able to still get the win and get a little bit of a wake up call because it's easier to correct those things and talk about them and feel good after a win. If you lose this game and you give up 38 to Gardner, it's a lot more like sky is falling in Cleveland right now.
100%.
Well, here, let me just play this voicemail from Fatal Gnome. He's got a couple here today.
Fatal Gnome with another voicemail here. Miles Garrett certainly deserves his flowers, but at the same time, those offside calls and then giving up on the play entirely kind of cost us twice. If you're going to get called for offsides, at least just continue to push through it so that it doesn't cost us on the back end. We know they're going to get a free play anyways, but why give them a touchdown on a free play? And then Dustin, beautiful kicks, career long 58. Gotta love it. That's why we traded for him. Couldn't wait on York.
Yeah, so what do you guys think about the Miles jumping off sides and then doing nothing?
Well, he said you can't jump and then stop.
Make him blow the play dead. Make him go and beat it.
It was pretty simple, but
I felt like the whole team stopped.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Everybody stopped. I'm like, what are we doing?
I think he jumped so far offsides they thought they were just going to blow it dead, and then they absolutely didn't, and it was just basically it was a real free play.
That's what it looked like to me. Is the defense thought the play was going to be blown dead?
Yeah,
but it didn't.
It absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Like
they gotta that you can't do that, and then he did it twice. And he had like an amazing game. So it's like, that's not going to overshadow all the great he did. But man, it's like, we can't have bonehead. When you're going to get nothing from the offense, we can't have boneheaded plays. Like if teams are going to move the ball against us because they're good. I mean, the Colts have talent. Gardner Minshew can play at a high level for stretches of a time. Jonathan Taylor led the league in rushing 2 years ago. Zach Moss is second in the league in rushing this year. They have a good offensive line. Like they got some receivers that can play. So, like, if they came out, and not to mention, they have a good offensive coach.
Yes.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, last night was the first time Jalen Hurts has really looked like Jalen Hurts since he lost the guy. So, if they came out and it was just like a slugfest and they're moving the ball and it's a battle of, like, these two offensive giants and it's an unmovable force against a movable object, okay. But to just give up touchdowns because we just stood there, like we can't have breakdowns like that when we're literally not going to get anything out of the offense for the foreseeable future. So it's just you can't have the mental breakdowns.
I think that gets addressed. Like
it's
as soon as they get back in the building.
So it's really nice that it happened in a win.
Absolutely.
We were talking about that earlier. It's like basketball. Like if you're going to foul the guy, foul the guy.
Yeah.
Don't let him make the shot and then take the free throw too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Did we want to talk about? He talked about a little bit about the play calling at the end of the game. Did we?
I'm very.
Oh
good
yeah,
with that.
I got that voicemail. I can play real quick on that.
Go ahead.
So I already know that everybody's going to talk about this, so I just want to bring it up real quick. The Browns being first and goal on the 1 yard line. Okay, so let's just go through the plays. The first play, because I already know everyone's talking about Stefanski and, oh, he's so stupid, he should be fired after this game, whatever. No, I completely disagree. So the first down, literally, if you look at it, Harrison Bryant wide open, but PJ Walker, I mean, he is a backup quarterback. He forces the ball into Njoku, incomplete. Okay, on to the second down. He does the toss play to Njoku. If you watch that over, Njoku, if he catches that ball, Wills actually made a nice block, and he walks right in for a touchdown. He just didn't catch the ball. Okay, still a good play. If you look on the third down play, PJ Walker unfortunately does miss Elijah Moore, but he was wide open for a touchdown right at the back of the end zone. So realistically, all three of those plays should have been touchdowns. It's just unfortunate the way they all worked out. I mean, thankfully, on the fourth play, we finally got in with Kareem Hunt. And I don't disagree that maybe a couple of those should have been just runs to Hunt or maybe like jump him over the top or something. But if people just take a second and don't worry about the outcome and look at the play and how it should have actually been run out, then they would realize that realistically, all three of those should have been a touchdown.
I completely. So if they run it on first down, you have 2 downs. Yeah, the clock is running. If you get lucky, you get 2 downs. That play with Njoku was one of the most incredible defensive plays I've ever seen. That literally, it was a touchdown, and the kid punched the ball out at the last second. It was insane.
Punched it. Oh, you're talking about the first down play.
Yeah. Punched it out.
So
if he does, was it second down?
Or hit it with his face mask? Yeah.
Yeah.
Second down.
No. I'm talking about where he lobs it in the corner. Incredible play by the defense. That literally, I was watching it and I was like, wow, good. I mean, good for that kid. That was incredible. That should have been a touchdown. And then I'm very fine with the last. You're at right there, run the ball in. It's all or nothing. Kareem Hunt, he's been known to do that, and I'm fine with the play calling. I think that Avante said the same thing. If you run the ball on first down, you're gonna have to either spike it or you lose down, or you're trying to rush up and then you get one shot at it. I had no problem with play calling at the end of the game.
Me neither. And something I saw Quincy Carrier point out last night is, if you run the ball, you got to hurry up so fast to get to the line. A false start's a 10-second runoff.
That's exactly right.
Yep. Good point,
I hadn't
John.
thought about that.
Any penalty.
All credit goes to Quincy on that. But
No, because I was just about to say it.
all credit goes to Blake Cracker on that.
I was a total drunk fan going, screaming, yelling, run it. And then after knowing a little bit more about the game and being more a little present, I was like, we did a good job.
No, it's hard to get set. I mean, even with, say, no 10-second runoff, you know how many seconds you can waste off the clock by just trying to get set. You don't even know what you're doing.
The Colts wouldn't even
get up.
We would waste 20 seconds just trying to get out of the pile.
You got an incomplete pass, the clock stops. You got the full play clock to get set and get your play ready.
Well, and it's and that was Stacy, by the way. So it's like Stacy said, we ran 4 straight touchdown plays. Kevin called 4 plays that went for touchdowns. The first 3 just were not executed properly.
No, and like Justin said, the first down play was executed pretty well. The guy just made a crazy.
That's
crazy
true.
effort play.
Yeah,
great effort play.
The play calling was fine. Maxie, coach still garbage. Please tell me why. Why is he still garbage? We're 4-2. He's over 500 in his career. And let's just go through a timeline of some of the stuff that Kevin Stefanski's dealt with since becoming the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. His first season, in which he won Coach of the Year for the record. There was no training camp, basically no practices. Every meeting was virtual. He had a lineman play who was learning people's names and getting practice in the parking garage before a game.
Right, because our entire wide receiver unit was out.
Yes.
The Jets game.
So he dealt with that in his first year. Crazy. Okay. In his second year, Baker gets injured and plays like absolute dog crap all season. His third year, he's got to coach 11 games with Jacoby Brissett and then 6 games with a Deshaun Watson that hasn't played in 700 days. And then this year, he has started a practice squad quarterback for essentially 2 games. He has lost his running back, lost his quarterback, started a 5th-round rookie against the Ravens. Oh, and by the way, go look at the defenses we've played in the first 6 games of this season. We're not playing scrubs. We're not in the NFC South. We don't get to play all these bums. We don't get to play the Vikings and the Bears that Baker's got to play this year. We've played the Steelers. We've played the Bengals pass rush. We've played the Ravens.
49ers.
The 49ers. Like, give me a break, dude. It's unbelievable. I watched Kevin get 0 credit for the win against the Niners. It all went to Jim Schwartz. And then a game where the defense looks like pretty much like ass for most of the game. Jim Schwartz isn't getting any flack for how bad his defense looked, but people are still going to say that Kevin Stefanski can't coach. He just won a game in which he had to play PJ Walker again.
It's true. And the defense gave up how many yards?
God, I don't even know.
And I
450?
Over 400 for
God.
sure.
456?
And I just keep asking, like, go show me. I had this one guy on Twitter say, yeah, his left tackle is not playing well, and he lost Chubb, and he doesn't have his quarterback, but that's all the excuses I'm going to give him. Well, how many does he need before you're like, oh, man, the fact that he's even won 4 games this year is impressive. Go find me the offensive coach in this league, pick one, and say he has to go put out this great offense that you guys all want, and he doesn't get his starting quarterback, he doesn't get his starting running back, and his left tackle is only going to play decent sometimes. And tell me the games he's going to win and the offensive numbers he's going to put up. I've said it before, and I'll say it. The fact that Kevin Stefanski is over 500, it's literally a miracle. Most coaches wouldn't have survived this 3.25 year stretch.
So
Anywhere, not just in Cleveland.
And he put 39 points on the board.
Yes.
39. I still can't believe it. I was telling these guys, I was kicking rocks all game. And I'd look at the score. I'm like, I can't believe we got 20 points. I can't believe we've got 26 points. I can't believe we've got 31 points. Can't believe we got 39 points. Like, it was crazy.
It's awesome.
It's a wild game.
So, did you see Max's reply to you?
No.
Play calling is outdated from 11 years ago. That wouldn't translate to 4-2 against the schedule we just had.
Well, and how can you evaluate that? How can you evaluate this? We can talk about the scheme and say what you want about the scheme, but how can you truly evaluate it when you're running with PJ Walker and DTR and Jerome Ford and you don't have Chubb. If we were 2-4 and we had a healthy Watson and we had a healthy Chubb and everything was going well, I would listen to you. But we are 4-2 and we've played with literal practice squad players at the most important position on the field. Like, give me a break about the play calling. Stop.
Well, don't tell us to dumb down the play calling for the backup quarterback and then say that our play calling is outdated.
Yes, that was I had people saying the offense was so boring. Run the ball 1st and 2nd down, then it's 3rd and long. The quarterback has to throw it. I just listened to you people 2 weeks ago say how we threw it too much. If he would have thrown it on 1st and 2nd down and threw a pick, you'd be screaming about why are we throwing the ball so much? He doesn't know what he's doing. This guy could he could cure cancer, and you'd be mad that we're going to lose tax money from cancer research.
Jeez, bro.
Well, all right, let's talk about we should run it on 1st and 2nd down. When we do, we usually get half a yard. So Jerome Ford yesterday had 74 yards rushing on 11 carries, 6.7 yards a carry, right? People on Twitter are like, hey, man, he's a very good running back. I'm like, really? Because he had 1 rush for 69 yards. Other than that, he ran 10 times for 5 yards. It's a half a yard a carry, guys.
He's not good.
We're 2nd and long every time we run it on 1st down with Jerome Ford.
Pierre Strong needs to get more touches, and he's going to now because Jerome Ford's out 1 to 2 weeks. Ford is fine in his mix-it-up role when he gets some stuff on like a toss, and he can just get outside, get around the edge and use it. But, man, he takes so many negative runs or no gains. He doesn't break any tackles.
His vision's tough. Man.
He's Trent Richardson with his vision. It's rough. That's what I don't get about. What are you guys expecting out of the offense? Our wide receiver core outside of Amari Cooper is not good. Okay, I know we expected the wide receiver core to be good this year because we expected Deshaun Watson to be elevating them. You're not getting any elevation out of the quarterback position right now. These Elijah Moore and I tried to tell you guys about DPJ, and all I heard was that he wasn't going to be back. He's going to price himself out of the Browns because he was going to. I tried to tell you, the dude's got 6 catches this year. he's doing nothing. It's just you have to chill with the offense. Like until Deshaun Watson is 100% healthy and can come back and give us like 6 games in a row, we have no idea what we have on offense. We just don't.
There's been too much like upheaval with the quarterback position because when you watch the game and we were up in the 600s and we're high up there, right? And you look down the plays, you can see them open. You can tell the quarterback wasn't right in this game, right? But the biggest thing is they're open at points. The ball is coming out too late. Whether it's a hair late, a second late, it's always too late. And there's a lot of little stuff underneath that's being missed. Just give the ball to the athletes and let them make plays instead of heaving it down all the time, you know? But I think Stefanski calls guys open. They're just not getting hit. That needs to change. And it's because of the upheaval in quarterbacks.
Yes, like PJ Walker, gutsy performances.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to take anything away from the guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's being put in a tough situation. I mean, he was literally on the practice squad still. He just got elevated today. Okay, so the fact that he's even being asked to go out there and perform at a high level, it's literally like not what he's there for. Okay, but it's not even just like the bad throws; it's the throws he's not making. Like Kenny is saying, there were times when the Colts beat us on that one blitz, they would blitz somebody in like the A gap and then somebody off the edge. Almost every time they did that, Njoku's wide open on a hot read. 100%. Almost every time. And all he has to do is just catch the snap, plant his foot, and just throw it to Njoku, and it's probably 10 yards. And then they won't do that play anymore. But they just kept doing it because he just kept sitting there holding the ball and taking a huge sack. It's just like you're just not going to get anything out of that. And unfortunately, I'm pretty sure we're just stuck. Like, we're not getting a quarterback. It's just I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I think we're stuck too. But maybe we want to talk a little bit about what we were talking about early. We've got to elevate PJ Walker a third time, or it's been his third time. So I think we have to sign him to the.
That's what somebody.
Roster now.
Oh, Andrew Jackson just said in the chat. I think that means he has to be on the active roster now. I'm pretty sure. Is it 3 times?
Who, PJ?
Yeah.
Yeah. We either have to put him on the roster. Or he has to clear waivers to go back to the practice squad. And he could potentially clear waivers, but are you willing to take that risk?
Yeah, because then you're sitting there with DTR as the only usable quarterback on this roster right now.
Yep.
I know we've heard a lot of talk about, somebody says, is past Elijah Moore for 30 yards in the final drive? Yes. What's frustrating is you see him make that throw and you're like, just do that. Where is that all the time?
What about that throw to Amari Cooper on the sideline? Amari Cooper, I'll tell you what, he can make some catches.
And he's always open.
Yeah.
Just got to get him the ball.
Yes.
Can't get him back.
I keep hearing like go get Jacoby Brissett, and people are throwing Cousins names out or Kirk Cousins name out. I don't think any of that's happening.
I think that Jacoby Brissett could be a realistic option for the Browns to explore. I don't think,
for sure.
I think Kirk Cousins is worth a phone call, but I don't think anything will ever come of that. He's not waiving his no trade clause to come to a team that can't give him an extension.
Correct.
We can't afford that.
He already said he's not going to waive his no trade clause anyways,
Yeah.
And then he wouldn't do it. He already said he doesn't want to play like the moving around the country game with his family.
Yeah,
he's got young
pretty
kids.
settled in quarterback.
You know what I mean? So he already said he doesn't want to do that. So he's not going to waive it to come here to play, 10 games or whatever. Also, we don't want him to play 10 games because I don't think Deshaun's injury, I don't believe, is season ending.
Couldn't even tell you anymore.
The problem with his injury is
Who
we
knows?
have no details except for now it's it's micro tears in the rotator cuff.
He's starting.
Okay,
he's starting against Seattle.
So call me crazy, but I don't care that we don't have details.
I know.
I'm just saying it makes it hard for us to speculate on any kind of timeline because what I saw on Sunday is this dude can't throw a football.
No.
So is 7 days going to completely change that? He's
So
so far from being ready to throw football, in my opinion.
Do you think it's health or do you think it's rust again? Because I can't figure out. He gets looking okay, and then it's almost like back to the Texans game where it's just like
that's true. The ball's in the dirt.
The throwing motion looks terrible, and I don't know if it's just because the pressure is right there on him. But yesterday I was like, oh, this isn't it. This isn't going to be what we need to win.
The collective Cleveland side.
What were you saying? He was like kind of shot putting it or alligator?
Alligator arm in it.
I the first throw to Jerome Ford on the check down, I was like,
oh boy.
Yeah. Like that's not good.
No,
like
he doesn't have it.
He was this. Like this is all he was doing. Like he was throwing darts instead of throwing a football. But they say he looked fine.
Who said that?
The team.
The coaches, the team. Deshaun himself said no. He told a DT or whatever her name is pregame, no limitations on anything I can do. I can throw the ball, no problem.
Well, I mean,
So if that's the case, then that's just him being bad. And then if that's just him being bad,
We're in bad shape.
we're effed.
Yes. Yeah. That is very yes.
And I don't want to panic. We've defended the signing, and I would, even say he is bad, I still would defend the signing because I would rather my team try to go do something than just be okay with mediocre.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but man, like he has looked really freaking bad more than he's looked even serviceable.
There's some red flags.
Carrie in the chat said, I was hearing from different places, a micro tear that you need like 4 months rest or surgery. I was talking to a physical therapist who she's dealt with a ton of rotator cuff injuries, very similar to what they're saying Deshaun has. And she said from her experience, I mean, everybody's different obviously in recovery, but she said most athletes with proper rehabbing with their trainers and stuff, 1 to 2 weeks, and they're usually back to playing full strength. I'm like, well, it's been like a month almost now. So was the initial injury worse than what we've been told? And, I don't know.
Or how much are you getting worried that we were wrong and this dude can't play and all of a sudden he realizes he can't play and he's like, just get me out of here.
I'm a little worried. What's the chat? Because I did post a poll here. Let's see.
I think it's going to be a lot of
the chat is 44% max panic level reach, 50% semi-worried, and only 6% not worried. So everybody, for the most part, has some concern.
I will say I'm slightly worried.
That's fair.
Because until I see him
Slightly worried for sure.
until there's a stretch of games, I can't. There's just no way to evaluate him right now. There's absolutely no way. But they need to officially declare him yes, I am healthy. That way we can judge him just like we judged Baker last year. He said, I am healthy, so I judged him as he was healthy. Okay? So he did that to himself.
Yeah, that's true.
So if he comes out and says, I can throw the ball, I am healthy, I am fine, then I want him to play. I want to see a solid month of football out of the guy, 4, 5, 6 games in a row, so we can truly evaluate what we have.
Yeah.
And it's got to look a whole hell of a lot better than it's looked for 99% of his time.
We talked about this on the Discord episode earlier. My biggest concern right now comes from the fact that he's been a Cleveland Brown for 23 games, and he's only played in 9 of them. And he's only looked really good for 6 quarters.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's very fair.
That is what worries me. So it goes right to your point.
If you cut out, take a look at the whole Stefanski era with quarterbacks. And if you take out numbers, color, whatever, hair that makes you different than others, you take out all the quarterbacks except for Jacoby Brissett, nobody can run this offense. They all look the same. Bad throws, can't get the ball on time. It seems like it's all the same thing. And it seems like Deshaun Watson's following in that pattern right now. You know what I mean? And I don't see where he's going. I know the feel from Browns fans at the game. They're sick of seeing the guy. They're sick of hearing about the $250 million. They're sick of the same output every single week. They don't want to deal with it. People weren't cheering when he got injured. They were cheering because they don't have to see this guy anymore. Some people want to see PJ Walker more than they want to see him. And it's like a dislike thing, or they're just sick of it.
It's just a terrible roller coaster ride right now. When it's up, it's Tennessee game. Whoa, holy crap, there it is. Hey, things are coming together. But then I just feel like he can't stay on the field, or whether it's suspension or injury or whatever's going on, we just can't get enough sample size to go, is this our guy? And the crazy thing is we're locked in. This is our guy.
It's such a hot topic issue. We're driving from Indy to here. We're listening to Indianapolis football. And you know what they're talking about? Deshaun Watson. How are the Browns treating this injury? What's going on in Cleveland? They just lost a game. They're 3-4 now. They're not talking about any of that. They're talking about us. And I was like, oh, this is too much.
Here, what Max C says, wonder who's making him look that bad. Well, you guys all want Jacoby back. Whose offense did he play in last year?
And he looked pretty good, right?
Yeah. That nobody has ever looked this bad in Kevin's offense. Even not healthy Baker was better than this.
So I've heard this from some other people. Do you think that Deshaun looks bad in Stefanski's offense because it's much more structured than what he had in Houston? Because under Bill O'Brien down there, it was almost like LeBron. It was almost like Deshaun was playing LeBron ball, where it was just hero ball. Go out there and do your thing, make a play here and there. Where in Stefanski's offense, it's timing, rhythm, executing, all that kind of stuff.
You would think a great football player could adjust to that, but I'm not going to blame Kevin right now. I just can't do that. Deshaun, I was super excited when we made that trade, and I am still predicting that he gets better. And I say better, I mean better at playing football.
Mm-hmm.
But he hasn't played well. I just don't want to blame that on the coach.
I didn't say that nobody but Brissett has looked good in this offense. I said Brissett looked good in this offense. I didn't say he was the only one. Baker looked good in Kevin's first year with him also. Okay, so that's why I'm saying you can't blame the offense you can't blame the scheme all for Deshaun's poor play when we've had lesser quality quarterbacks look a million times better in the scheme.
PJ Walker's won the only 2 games he's played.
And I was just going to talk about PJ. Like PJ Walker actually, I don't want to phrase this, like he looks good in this offense. Like he can run the offense, he just can't execute it. You know what I mean? Like he's making the throws, they're just late or they're missing guys or he's not seeing guys. But I mean, it's there. He just isn't able to do it.
The problem for me is like for now that we're this far into the season, this is a very good defense that can take us pretty far places. Yeah. This is a team that's pretty nice. I'm not confident at all that PJ Walker can take us to the places that we want to go. And honestly, the way Deshaun has played up and down, I'm not sure that he can take us to the places we want to go, but that's where we're at. I mean, there's no really other options. DTR sure as hell isn't going to take us to where we want to go.
I think you can, I think like if Deshaun doesn't play against Seattle, that's probably a loss. And then if he doesn't play against Arizona, I think we can win that game with PJ. Okay. But then like after that, Deshaun's got to be back. Mm-hmm. He's got to be back. And if the injury, like you said, if the injury is what they said it is, which from Deshaun's mouth, that's what he said it was.
Right.
Okay. Then by the time we get to the Cardinals, that's what, 6 weeks, 7 weeks? Like he should be fine. And if he's not, then I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but something else is going on.
And that's where like the messaging, does anybody else just feel like it's weird? I don't know how else to explain it. It just feels weird. It
does feel the weirdest thing. It started feeling weird when they put him in and then they took him right back out. And then they're like, oh, we just don't want him to get hurt. Well, why was he out there then?
When they said he passed the concussion test.
There they go with he was cleared. Again, why did they say that the first time, though? It's just, did he slip up? What's going on?
Cleveland should have kept Dawgs. I 100% agree with that.
He's doing okay.
I still agree with that. I will proudly agree with that statement.
If you stay off the internet and off of X, it's not as like big of a shitstorm as you think. It's just there's so many, like you just can't get on there. Everybody's got a conspiracy theory. Everybody's saying something dumb. It's like I don't mind that nobody outside of the Browns organization knows what's going on. I want that in house. Keep your stuff in house. I don't want every reporter to just be able to leak every single thing about the Browns. We've had that before, and it's a dumpster fire. Yeah. Like, let the media circus happen around you as long as your house is in order. And from what in the house, you don't hear anything coming out about like problems or not being on the same page or anything like that. So to be like, we might be frustrated because we don't 100% know what's going on. But if I'm the Browns, I don't really give a shit about me. Like who am I? I don't deserve an explanation about somebody's injury or anything like that. They don't owe me that. They don't owe me anything. They owe it to their guys to do what's best for the team inside the locker room.
Right. Which then leads everybody outside to go, okay, so what they're telling us is he's injured. Oh, wait, no, he's fine to play. And then he goes on the field and plays like garbage. So is he injured or is he garbage? And then here we are. But take away kind of that speculation stuff. Just look at the facts. Like I've seen a lot of people saying, let's just find somebody who wants him and trade him. Let's just cut him. Guys.
No, who
Let's
said that?
He's a $220 million.
Who said that?
Yeah, that's a ton of people saying that.
Just go look, dude. So
Oh
he's a
my goodness. Well, good
$220
thing I'll
million
answer for you.
Yeah,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
We had guys
I'm
on
sorry.
our
Go ahead.
show
I'm sorry.
commenting to say
I'm sorry.
cut.
Go ahead.
$220 million dead cap. He's owed $19 million this year. So if it would cost us $200 million to get rid of him. We can't.
That's why you don't do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Because then we're
So
about
this
to
is
go
a
down.
situation where if he's healthy, then he's got to be out there. He's paid to be our starter. He has to be the starting quarterback. He has to be on the field. What I don't like is that we're protecting him protecting him from what you said. He was healthy. He's the starter. Put him in the game. Make him play because he's the starter. If he's hurt, tell us that and hold him out. But it's so back and forth.
I had the theory that Stefanski watched him throw 5 passes, 2 of which should have been picked. We got lucky that the one was overturned.
Yeah.
And he went, this dude's going to throw 8 picks today. And if he looks this bad for the whole game, 1, we're not winning. And 2, it is going to be a crap storm of crap storms all week if he plays an entire game like this. And he saw him go down and hit his head and land a little awkward, and he thought, I can get this guy out and just save him for a week because this is doing nobody any good. Because he clearly was not going to be good. My biggest problem too is even if the shoulder's injured, and even pre-injury, outside of it's really the Titans game, it's not even the throwing, which is still a concern because he just throws balls into the ground all the time for some reason. He looks lost.
Yes. Mm-hmm. We were talking about how he just looks lost.
He just looks like he's never played football before. And I don't know if he's just got it in his head, I have to be great because I'm making all this money. And if I'm not great, everybody's going to say it was the worst move. And I can prove my innocence with my play and all this. And so I don't know if he just can't deal with it mentally, if he's just not mentally strong enough to deal with it. But if not, that's an issue. Let's get this guy a therapist or something because he just, even when he's out there and he's not hurt, 99% of the time he's looked lost. He just looks like he has never played football before.
You see that in his turnover, the turnover numbers he's had since he's been the starter for the Browns. I mean, in Houston, that's what he was lauded for. He had always low interceptions, right? I mean, usually I think on a yearly basis, he didn't throw a lot of picks. It's all he does now.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor decision making. Yesterday, I was going to say no zip on the ball. Is it injury? Is it because he's second guessing himself? Who knows? Yeah. But yeah, just tough. It's worrisome. Again, I'm not going to 100% press the panic button on him until I get an actual sample size of games. But to be watching him right now and to say you're 0% worried, I feel like you'd be lying to yourself a little bit.
It's fair.
We got any more voicemails you want to get to?
Well, I think we had one about Deshaun, so maybe we'll just wrap up that talk with another Fatal Gnome here.
What's up, Browns fans? It's Patreon member Fatal Gnome. And, we got a win. Finally had some calls go our way. Certainly questionable. However, I think, everybody's been talking about Watson and his throwing. It didn't look good. And I think that's because of the shoulder. It's just, we already knew that. And it was to be expected. He might have thrown good in practice. He might have thrown good pregame. But when the bullets start flying and he's really got to press the ball in there, that's when that shoulder is going to give him issues. I think he needs to go to IR. And I think we need to make a trade for a quarterback. I think Jacoby's most people's answers. He's been in the system. He played well under Stefanski. He can manage the game well. And there's, a few other names you could probably go for. You could probably look at Dalton. I don't think he's great, but I think it's better servicing than PJ Walker. Again, I think Foles or Wentz might be another option. Again, not great. I don't like that, but still better than PJ Walker. I guess, what are your thoughts?
So I got 2 things. I think Jacoby is obviously the smart thing to do, and I would definitely welcome bringing him back. I would caution people, though, that if we were to pull this off, I don't know if you're going to get the same Jacoby you got last year. Last year, he had Nick Chubb. Okay. He doesn't have the strong running. He's not going to come in here and have the strong running game and stuff like that to lean on. Like, where it's going to be Jacoby, you have to make some throws and stuff like that. So I would just caution, don't think if we somehow pull off Jacoby, we're just all of a sudden offense is going to just be, in sync and perfect. And then I wanted to address a comment here. It said, where'd it go? Something about $230 million. $230 million contract will make someone look lost, or at least look as though they aren't putting 100% since the money is guaranteed. That's an ignorant argument. All these guys,
I've heard that a lot from people.
All these dudes. So where's the cutoff to complacency? Because a lot of like Lamar is making what, $200 million fully guaranteed. So you mean to tell me Lamar is only making $200 fully guaranteed, so he still has to go out there and prove himself and play
Right.
an
So
MVP
$30 million is that cutoff?
Yes, like that's all these dudes are making enough guaranteed money, at least all like these top end quarterbacks, that they're never gonna have to work again for the rest of their lives.
Yeah,
they could all quit now and be. Patrick Mahomes is making $500 million. Okay, all these big quarterbacks also have such huge endorsement deals off of the field that they could never play another down of football again, and they will be set, and their kids will be set, and their kids' will be set. So you can't, the 230 fully guaranteed, it literally means nothing. All of these guys are making an astronomical amount of guaranteed money.
Right. Like, I don't think Joe Burrow looked at those first few games for the Bengals where they were playing horrible and was like, yeah, I got a lot of guaranteed money in here. I don't really care.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Like it's a lazy argument. It's just like it's honestly it's like what my dad would say. Like I don't want to be the guy that's like the boomers, but okay, boomer. Like
I think that as Browns fans, and this is just my personal opinion, just over the years, I think we're just so desperate just to like solidify that position. Our whole lives we've waited just to have a QB1 that we knew was just going to go out there, game on the line, and it was a win. And for the most part, we haven't had that.
No.
And so I think a lot of like these comments and stuff like that, it's more of just like a frustration. It's I don't want to say desperation, but we went out and signed this guy for a lot of money, and everybody went, okay, we got our guy. This is the guy. That guy looked incredible in Houston. So I think that just a lot of that, like $230 million, now he's just going to relax and just not do anything. This is what Cleveland does. Obviously, that has happened. We've signed some receivers, and then they catch 13 balls, $1 million a catch. But I think that's just that's just frustration, and I get it. Like, I understand it as a fan, but this is the market right now for quarterbacks too, though. They're all making this money.
yes.
It's such a hot topic issue. I mean, like it's a scab that the media just likes to pick at, and it sets people off. And then, emotionally or irrationally, or even after a game, after a couple pops, people just throw up whatever they want to say, and a lot of it has to do with the money. So they always say, "Oh, he's quit on the team. He's just making too much." And great point by you. He's not quitting on the team. He keeps showing up. You know what I mean? And, then it's the injury thing makes people crazy too, because they just want what's really going on. Fortunately, you're not going to get it. You're just not going to get it. And that's going to have to carry its way out. And then who else made the point here? We feel stuck. And when people feel stuck, they lash out irrationally, right? And that's what happens. Dwayne Bowe, that was the guy.
Yeah.
And and that's why people go so crazy over it, right? And they're like, cut him, and not thinking of what they're saying. You're not going to cut a guaranteed $250 million. No franchise would do that. Like, that's insane.
I've heard some people say, like, we had people say it's the worst move. We have no future, no money, and all this stuff. I'm like, well, we're lead the league in cap space this year, and obviously we have to roll a lot over to it next year, but we're going to be fine because we did that. Okay. We planned for the future. 2, we only have one more season. I don't know if people realize this. Like, next year we don't have a first round pick. Then we're right back to having it's only one more year.
Yeah. And we've cried for years about how the Browns don't know how to use their first round picks effectively on players.
Yes. Who cares? What did first round picks do for us for my entire life?
Nothing.
It did nothing.
To put my Mingo jersey.
And if Andrew Berry, like Martin Emerson was a 3rd round pick, I think everybody likes him. JOK, 2nd round pick, playing at a
Grant
Pro Bowl
Delpit,
level this
2nd
year.
round pick.
Grant Delpit, 2nd. You know what I mean? Like,
Trent Richardson was a 1st round pick.
DeJuan Jones was a
Head
4th.
jersey.
White.
Yeah.
Yeah, too.
There were 2 people I wanted to talk about about DeJuan Jones. It is crazy to me. Like he's fit in so seamlessly that I almost forget he's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's just, you don't hear about him. The guy going over him, you don't hear about. Like he's just like steadfast in a rock out there. It's crazy to me that this dude's a 5th round rookie.
He led the team yesterday in pass block grade for the Browns, 82.9, gave up 1 pressure the entire game, and it was just a hurry. No sacks, no hits.
Talk about
saving grace.
I don't want to be mean to our friend, but I don't know if I've ever seen anybody be more wrong about anything in my entire life than DF was about DeJuan Jones.
He definitely did not like him, but I mean,
why did that guy drop? Because he said he liked basketball?
Yeah.
I think there was some work ethic questions too that I don't know. Either way.
Daniel Jeremiah, man, that guy always says you never pass on freakish talent. Guys like Titans running back there.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, thank you.
No
All
problem.
guys like that, you just never pass on. It may be boom or bust, but if it's boom, like you'll reap the benefits. You know what I mean? And we certainly are with that dude.
I wanted to touch on him real quick, and then I think we would be doing a disservice to the fans if we didn't discuss. Arguably, I would say behind Jim Schwartz, the second biggest move of the offseason in trading for Dustin Hopkins. Like the Browns wouldn't be 4-2 if we still had Cade York.
Jack said we'd be 1-5.
Yep.
And he's pretty accurate on that.
Like,
How
I'm
nice
just
is
so
it just
happy
knowing?
that we decided it was the kicker, not the holder.
Yeah.
Remember when everyone was saying
thanks, Corey.
We were tossing that around.
Laced out.
there was compelling evidence.
Yeah, the stats left a trail.
This is why we don't manage football teams.
Or fantasy football team.
So he made a 58-yarder yesterday that would have been good from 65 plus, and I was like, I didn't know this dude had that still.
We were worried he didn't because all of his stats going into it were when it was 50 plus. He was 1 for 5 or something last year or something like that.
Remember we signed him and everybody's talked about how he didn't have a leg anymore. We're like, well, that's fine. We just needed to make extra points and knock in those 25, 30 yarders. This dude is saving us right now.
Yes.
And it's like, I feel every time he goes out there, I feel confident he's going to make it.
Absolutely.
And he's not only, he's earned so much of my trust. He's inevitably he's going to miss one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even when he did against the Niners, I was like, he'll be good.
Yeah.
Like never skipped the beat for me.
So, but he's earned my trust to the point like where even when he does miss one, I know he's going to miss one. It's not end of the world. Like it'll be like, oh, damn it, we got to make our kicks. But I know that the next time he comes out, he's probably going to make it. I mean, the dude's been incredible. He's literally behind Jim Schwartz, the second biggest addition to this team right now.
Agreed.
Yeah, no, those 2 signings were amazing.
And so in credit to the Browns front office, they drafted Cade York. I mean, pretty high for a kicker.
And then
just getting
recognized.
drafted is, a big thing. And they weren't afraid to pivot and admit the mistake and do something about it.
So a couple of these like stats from yesterday that I saw on Twitter, Adam Schefter said after making his 54-yard field goal in Cleveland's game, Hopkins is now the first NFL kicker ever to convert a 50-plus yard field goal in 5 consecutive games during the same season.
And we were terrified about that.
Yeah, and that's where he was 50%, was from 50 yards out and out. Yeah.
And a lot of those kicks have been in Cleveland.
Yeah. And then back onto Myles Garrett. He's the first player since 91 to have 2+ sacks, 2+ forced fumbles, and a blocked field goal in the same game.
So when he blocked the field goal, I'm watching, and obviously they're a little bit zoomed out so you can see the kick. So I didn't see how it got blocked. I just saw it got blocked, and I was pumped. And then they showed the replay, and I almost fell out. I was like, wait, did Myles just do
teleported?
Like, did my eyes just did I imagine that?
Yeah.
The way if he touches that guy, it's a penalty.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But he just straight clears him.
He's not human.
He's 295 pounds.
Build a statue. I'm okay with it.
He's 295
there's
pounds.
Gonna be a statue.
Build a statue.
There's going to be a statue.
He
Schwartz
played.
will build it for him.
That is the Myles, and sometimes like we've got on the show
you.
and
I'm
we've
glad
talked
you're doing
about,
this. Yes.
like we want to see him give 100% effort all the time, and like we just are waiting for him to really, like he's always been super super good, but we're waiting for him to just like really break out and become like the guy that we think he could be. And I think we all talked about it this year with some of the running mates he's going to have. Like, I think we all said this is going to be a coming out year for Miles, which might have sounded stupid because he's on like a Hall of Fame trajectory already.
Right.
But we just felt like this was going to be the year that you really saw him become the kind of guy that just every game you feel his presence. And man, this game was, I'm telling you, this is one of the best games I've ever seen. A guy, I mean, he plays with his hand in the ground. He's not a stand-up line, and he affected the game in that manner. Like, it was unbelievable.
Todd said he's got 9 tackles, and the first thing I noticed about him before any of the awesome stuff that we're talking about happened is he was up and down the line of scrimmage tackling. I'm like, Miles ready today.
Yep.
You know, by the end of the first, he had 3-4 tackles already. I'm like, oh, he's getting after it.
Yep.
There were times coming into this year where if they ran away from Miles, he wasn't getting those like chase down tackles. He wasn't squeezing down and tackling the guy from behind for a loss or 1 yard gain. Like you see some of these, like a Micah Parsons or a TJ Watt, they try to run away from him.
Yep.
And a lot of times if you run away from the outside guy, you don't block him. You know what I mean? Because he's not supposed to be able to make the play. And those guys, they still make the play. And Miles, it kind of seemed like, oh, they're not running my way. I'm just going to take this play off. He's not doing that this year.
I've been at times very critical of Miles because I wondered, is there an effort issue? Like I felt like there's just times, over the past years there maybe take plays off. I take back everything that I've ever said. That dude is not real. He is not real life. He is completely next level.
You can tell the addition of Schwartz has energized him. Like he believes in it. You can tell like having a little bit of help. He doesn't have to do everything himself. So he doesn't have to conserve energy for the fourth quarter and that kind of, you know what I mean? Like he can go out there and go balls to the wall and know like if I have to come out for a play or two, the next guy we bring in can still go out and be productive.
Oh man, I'm energized, man. Like I see that guy getting moved around. Like I could only imagine what he thinks. He's
awesome.
like, oh, I get to be D-tackled. Like I get to rush in. Like I get to complete these plays. Like this is amazing. Instead of line up on the outside, try and rush, go too wide. We saw last year.
It's got to be frustrating for Miles throughout his career to know that he's got the potential to do all these other different things, but they're either not letting him or they just don't want to. They're not utilizing him. It's like, I could do more for you guys if you would just let me. And now they're like, go for it.
Unleashed.
Yes.
I know it's late and we're getting ready to wrap this up, but Breeze.
We talked all about this already.
Go back and watch the beginning and just take a second to think. I don't want to be like too mean to somebody listening, but be smarter. Be smarter. You do not run the ball when you have no time. Like you want all 4 tries, don't you? It's not guaranteed to get it on the first. Oh, run it in with Kareem Hunt. Is that a guarantee? Are the Colts going to be like, oh, Kevin decided to run it and that's the right play call, so we have to let him score? No, it's not a guarantee that he gets in. Like stupidity.
Am I the only one that's glad we ended up scoring?
We won by 1 point. Let's go. We won the game.
We scored with only 28 seconds left. So I'm personally happy about the way it went.
I would like to address this, and I'm kind of seeing it rolling across Kenny's screen, but somebody was just talking about the AFC North. Is anybody else like, man, Mike Tomlin's doing a hell of a job? Pittsburgh's 4-2.
I was really counting on the Rams to knock them down yesterday.
Well, they got
a great play. They had a terrible spot on that.
And the Rams didn't have any timeouts, so they couldn't challenge it. And it was out. It was like 2 minutes and 12 seconds, so it wasn't initiated by the booth.
Yeah, this division, like the Ravens rolled up 38, and
that was. I thought that was game of the week.
Ago, and
they blew the brakes off of them.
Yeah.
Where is Aaron Butler? I figured he'd be in here all day.
It pains me to say this, but like the Niners, like the Ravens are maybe the best team in the AFC, if not the NFL.
That's kind of a fair point.
Frustrating.
They're looking amazing.
Which is frustrating because, like I don't know, they just play smart and their guys know their roles. Like it's frustrating, but I mean,
they don't have DPJ as a returner, so
we don't have to.
That's fair catch.
Dude, I want Jalen Darden. I want Jalen Darden returning every damn punt.
I was excited for you for that.
It drives me crazy. And I see him, and he's not on the field. I'm like looking through the inactives, and then I realized after talking to everybody today, I'm like, he didn't even get called up.
Yeah. I don't think they could because they had to bring PJ back up and
the rules
and Deion Jackson.
Yeah, you can only do so many.
They caught Jackson today.
Yeah.
Oh, did they?
They waved him back. Yeah.
So, like, are the Browns going to sign somebody for the next 2 weeks? Are they going to like, or is Kelly still in the practice squad?
I don't believe so. I thought he got signed by somebody else.
So yeah, I don't know because are you going to roll in with the next 2 weeks with just Hunt and Pierre Strong?
We talked about this in the after hours before the show. Can we just talk real quick about what the Browns could potentially do going into the trade deadline real quick, especially at running back? Because we talked about Kareem Hunt. We talked about Dalvin Cook as potential options that teams are trying to offload some contracts that maybe we could get some help in that department.
Well, I would go with what Justin said last week then.
Ernest?
Yeah.
Call up the Ernest?
Yeah.
You could probably get him for like an eighth
A bag
rounder.
of donuts.
Some cat or like in Moneyball, like we'll pay for the soda in their pop machines down in their locker room. You know what I mean? Like something like it wouldn't. He's literally not touching the field ever.
No, they don't use him
at all.
They got Tank. They got Etienne, who's playing out of his mind.
Yeah. So, I think they're going to have to do something. You can't go in with just 2 running backs.
No, not the way our guys go down.
No. So, but we'll go ahead and wrap this thing up. It's been basically an hour. We like to keep these things to an hour.
Fun.
I think we touched on most of the stuff. Thanks to Kenny for being here. Again,
I do have one more voicemail.
Oh, man. Sneakster.
Look like
Get
an
it in
idiot.
there.
Well, I wanted to make sure we ended on this one.
Okay.
Fatal gnome here. 15-2. Said it since the beginning of the season. Still on the table. Let's go Browns.
Good to hear from
There
you,
we
brother.
go.
Good to hear from you. It's still alive. The dream is alive still.
We're going to wrap this thing up. We appreciate you guys being here. Everybody except for Breeze. We appreciate all you guys for being here.
Come on, man.
Don't talk stupid in here, and I'll say I'm happy for you to be here. So thanks for being here, checking us out on a Monday night, a victory Monday. Browns
Victory,
are 4-2.
baby.
Obviously, we got things to clean up. We got things to work on, but it's a lot easier to do that when you're 4-2 coming off back-to-back wins. So again, thanks for being here. Thanks to Kenny Mack for stopping in the studio. It's always a good time. And we'll see you guys later this week when we preview the Seahawks game.